and welcome to another live WDCB broadcast from the PianoForte Studios, 1335 South Michigan Avenue in Chicago. I'm Barry Winograd, and vocalist Tammy McCann, along with pianist Jim Sellers, are with me tonight for our broadcast. We'll be talking with Tammy about our new CD, Love Stories, as well as her favorite jazz-singing women, and she'll be performing several songs for us as well at PianoForte. Tonight's Artist Interview Series broadcast is made possible in part by a grant from the Illinois Arts Council Agency, and also through the cooperation of the PianoForte Foundation, which is dedicated to preserving and promoting the art of the piano in Chicago. Find out more at pianofortefoundation.org. Now, let's get started with some music. Live from PianoForte, here's the duo of Tammy McCann and Jim Sellers.
I never went in for moonlit skies, never blinked back at fireflies. But now that the stars are in your eyes, I'm beginning to see the light. I never went in for afterglow, the candlelight or that mistletoe. But now when you turn the lights down low, I'm beginning to see the light. We used to wobble in the park, shadow boxing in the dark. Then you came and caused a spark. That's a four-alarm fire now. I never made love by lantern shine, I never saw rainbows in my wine. But now that your lips are burning mine, I'm beginning to see the light. Boxing in the dark. Then you came and caused a spark. That's a four-alarm fire now. I never made love by lantern shine, I never saw rainbows in my wine. But now that your lips are burning mine, I'm beginning to see the light. I'm beginning to see the light.
Tammy McCann, Jim Sellers, Duke Ellington's I'm Beginning to See the Light. Not at all. It can go left, right, center, but it's always the right way. Absolutely. Tammy, welcome to DCB Jazz and PianoForte. We're great to have you here. Great to see you.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Barry. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. And you've got a lot of wonderful projects going on and a lot of wonderful music in the future. But let's give everyone a little bit about the past as well. You're a young lady who did a lot of studying in music. Yes. You actually started studying classical music, opera.
Absolutely. And that was my first love. Still is my love. I started with a wonderful teacher here in Chicago, Dr. Lena McLean at Kenwood. And I did my first opera when I was 15. And it's just been something that that completely captivated me. And Miss McLean exposed us to so much. You know, we were just kids, and she was giving us master level instruction. You know, I know that now, but you know, we really had a good time. So a lot of wonderful people came out of Miss McLean's classroom. Mandy Patinkin, Mark Rucker with the Metropolitan Opera. All over.
Well, now I'm interested. You grew up in Chicago, and you certainly have roots with people like Von Freeman around here. And were you not exposed to the blues and the jazz while you're growing up?
No, not at all.
Wow.
I mean, my parents were really, I'd say, kind of doo-wop people. You know, I was exposed to soft rock, actually, like Barbra Streisand and Helen Reddy and Neil Sedaka and Barry Manilow, and that was the music that I grew up on.
Well, There are a
And
lot of good songs there.
Yeah,
A lot of good
wonderful songs. There are
songwriters.
several of which I've sung. So, yeah, absolutely. And that's what really shaped and cultivated my musical taste.
Well, and I'm sure you know the old expression, music is good, it's bad, it's all up to you. And that's one of the beautiful things of the music that Duke Ellington actually used to say. And while you were at Virginia Union, you had a unique experience. You were studying opera, and yet down the hallway you heard some monk tune called Round Midnight. Is that right?
It was really fascinating. I was practicing myself, and I was getting ready to leave, and I heard a young man playing this music, and I'd never heard anything like that before. And I asked him, I said, "Is that Bizet?" I was trying to think of what composer could have created something so special and different. And he said, "No, this is Thelonious Monk." And I said, "Who is that?" I just had no concept whatsoever. And then I headed home to Chicago to seek out this amazing sound.
And you certainly have. And before we hear a couple more songs, I have to ask you a question that sort of is rolling around in my mind. As an opera singer, you've obviously done duos with pianists, and as a jazz singer, obviously tonight, and other times you've done duos with a pianist. Are there two different approaches to supporting the vocalist when you're performing? How different is it to have a jazz piano player behind you beginning to see the light versus playing something from Carmen with a pianist who's and you're out there doing your duo thing with them or whatever opera or piece it might be.
You might be surprised. Actually, I have a saying that there are many, many piano players, but there are very few accompanists. And whether it's classical or jazz, there's an energy exchange between the pianist and the singer. And if you've sung this song 1,000 times with him or her, they feel your breathing. They see the ebb and flow of your body movements. And so it's a dance that we do together. And so, no, it's something that's absolutely the same. Even with classical songs, because you hear the same song over and over again, you would think, we just do it the same way every time. But there are subtle nuances. Maybe, she holds it a little longer, this time instead of last time. Or maybe, she takes the quick part a little faster, So, I mean, it's very similar. It's very, very similar.
Now, is there something in particular, no matter what style of music you're playing, that you look for? Just mention one thing in the pianist that says to you, hey, this is a pianist I want to work with, whether it's classical, jazz, or whatever. Is there
Someone with big ears. Someone that listens to me. If you're off on your own page and then you're not really listening to what I'm doing, say I might sing a portion of the song softer. Well, if you're still playing loud, if you're not following my dynamics, then then we're not connecting. So definitely someone that hears.
Big ears.
Exactly.
Yeah, love big ears.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, well, you have a new recording, Love Stories, and
Yes.
before we come back and talk about it, why don't we hear a couple tunes from it? What do you think?
I think that would be super.
We've got,
Love Stories is about
yes.
love
Okay.
and about the experiences that we have in love. And this song that I want to start with is called Skylark, and it's one of my favorites because, sometimes you just feel like I've tried everything. What else can I do? I feel like I might as well just give up. Skylark, have you anything to say to me? Won't you tell me where my love can be? Is there a meadow in the mist where someone's waiting to be kissed? Skylark,
with spring, where my heart can go a journey over the shadows and the rain to a blossom-covered lane. And in your lonely flights, have on your word the music in the night, beautiful music, faint as a willow, the wisp, crazy as a loon, sad as a gypsy, serenading the moon. Oh, Skylark, I don't know if you can find these things, but my heart is riding on your wings. So if you see them anywhere, won't you lead me there? And in your lonely flights, I want you were the music in the night, beautiful music, faint as a willow, the wisp, crazy as a loon, sad as a gypsy, serenading the moon. Oh, Skylark, I don't know if you can find these things. My heart is riding on your wings. So if you see them anywhere, would you lead me there? Thank you.
As Tammy McCann and Jim Sellers on DCB Jazz, and we're live from the PianoForte Foundation, 1335 South Michigan Avenue. And that's a song that you'll find on Love Stories, a brand new recording from Tammy McCann. And it's a wonderful recording, and it's one where you hooked up with a longtime dear friend of mine who also joined us here at PianoForte during Jazz Fest, Lawrence Hobgood. And, well, how did you hook up with Lawrence?
Well, I dropped a penny into the wishing well known as Facebook. And well, I knew Lawrence was from here. I'd seen him several times, of course, performing. And with this new CD, I wanted to do something different. I wanted what I now call the Hob goodness, and I wanted it on my CD. And so I reached out to him, saying, perhaps we could do a couple of arrangements, if you'd be willing or able. And then I found out that he was flying solo, and that, he was really interested in doing something with someone else. And I was like, wow, that's great. And the label, after hearing the first two arrangements that we did, the label was like, well, we just have to have all of these songs, done by him. And so it was just really a blessing. And one of the things that is so special about Lawrence, I mean, as you know, he's just a darling human being. He is so collaborative, and when you deal with somebody that's in this business and that's famous, you never know how the interaction is going to be, especially as a singer. You're never quite sure how you're going to be perceived or how you're going to be dealt with. And he was so warm and so collaborative, and every song on this record has my DNA in it. And we went up to his place on Long Island, and we sat sequestered for like 3 days, and we did all of the arrangements, including several shows. So I mean, it was 9 a.m. to midnight, and it was just really a wonderful experience. It's still a wonderful experience. We had our CD release here in Chicago and New York. We have one planned for Los Angeles. So, I mean, it's a wonderful experience that I'm having.
Well, and you were very lucky to find someone like Lawrence who could grasp who Tammy McCann is and put it into the music, and then give you that wonderful bed to perform on. Now, a couple of very quick questions, and we're going to get you to sing some more. First of all, there's, 1.5 million standards that you could have chosen. Did Lawrence have a few ideas of like, hey, you will sound great on these, or did you know when you went into those sessions that these are the 10, 12 songs, 14 songs, whatever that I want to try, and then we'll whittle it down from there?
That's so funny you should say that. No, these songs, as a singer, you sing these songs, and over time, several of them started becoming kind of autobiographical to me. So I really had an idea of the songs that I wanted to do, and but of course, the how is where I hear, what about this? And so he really shaped my vision. But funny thing, one song on the CD, which is Like Someone in Love. We had finished all the songs, and we were in the studio, and I was like, we need another song. And so he said, yeah, I know what you're talking about. We need, just something that has a particular groove. And we couldn't put our fingers on it. So I said, well, you make a list, I'll make a list. So I made a list, he made a list, and Like Someone in Love was on both of our lists. And I said, well, okay, then we can do that. And he was like, okay, well, I had a particular idea, and he was like, you know what? I've got another idea. Let me go home. So the next day, he came into the studio with this arrangement of this wonderful arrangement, and so that's how it ended up on the CD. But he wrote it the night before.
All right. Well,
but that's the kind of cat he is.
Yeah. I've seen Lawrence transpose stuff, and an hour later, off he goes and plays it. He's a wonderful musician that way. Takes care of business. Now, the other question I had about your new CD, Love Stories, it's not unusual, but it's not usual yet to have a vibraphone player, someone playing vibes on the session. Was that your idea? Was it
that
his?
That was completely my idea. Me and my husband have this CD that we love. I mean, we play it all the time, and it drives the kids crazy, Lionel Hampton. And I said, if I could have that vision, that's really what I wanted, and nobody really has it. And I didn't know of many. And again, with Facebook, I saw this young man playing, and I was like, who is this kid? He's unbelievable. Justin Thomas. And I saw him, and I said, no, he looks familiar. I know him, Chicago cat, and so reached out to him. And he was thrilled. I mean, all the people all the guys that came together on this CD were really just wonderful to work with, and they made it so easy. And Lawrence is he's such a wonderful teacher, you know? Absolutely. He is a wonderful teacher, and he took these young cats and he was like, listen, it's more than just the notes on the page. It's the music that's inside you, you know? And that's what we want to bring out. It's not just playing the groove, it's also getting a feel. And one of the things that I told them was that, you know, it's not just about me up there. I said, as you're playing with me, I really want you to envision that you're soloing, because I want that energy, all of this energy, to come rushing out into the audience. So just because I'm singing, I mean, I'm a classical singer, so my voice is really loud, so don't worry about me. You know, you just play and have fun. And if I want you to simmer down a little bit, I'll tell you. But other than that, I want this rush of energy to come across the bandstand, you know, into the audience, from all of us, you know.
And it certainly does. All right, well, from Love Stories, let's see what's going to happen. Tammy McCann, Jim Sellers, it's DCB Jazz, 90.9 FM, WDCB.org.
Cold. No, I don't believe your heart is cold. Maybe just afraid to be broken again. Let someone start believing in you. Let her hold out a hand. Let her touch you and watch what happens. Want someone who can look in your eyes and see into your heart. Let her find you and watch what happens. Cold. No, I don't believe your heart is cold. Maybe just afraid to be broken again. Let someone with a deep love to give that deep love to you, and what magic you'll see. Let someone give a heart, someone who cares like me. No, I don't believe your heart is cold. Maybe just afraid to be broken again. Let someone with a deep love to give that deep love to you, and what magic you'll see. Let someone give a heart, someone who cares like me. Let someone give a heart, someone who cares like me.
Watch what happens. Tammy McCann, Jim Sellers, DCB Jazz. We're live from PianoForte Foundation, 1335 South Michigan Avenue. Tammy McCann, our guest. And that is from her new recording, Love Stories, and it's a wonderful side. And before we go on to our next group of tunes or songs here, I'd like to talk to you about one gentleman that you were very fortunate to work with and work in his band, and that's Mr. Ray Charles.
Yes.
Yeah, and Ray Charles, of course, legendary not only in jazz, but in country and in blues and rock and roll, and I bet he could have sung opera if he wanted to.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And he had such a wonderful gospel soul to him as well. Were there certain ideas once you became part of the Raylettes, right?
Yes.
Were there certain ideas that they said to you, hey, this is how we interpret these songs, no matter what you've been doing out on the street, because this is how Ray likes to hear them, and this is, what we do. And from those certain directions that you learned on that band, have you been able to apply those certain ideals to your own performances and music as well?
A lot of what the instruction was really about work ethic. When I became a Raylette, they gave me 26 songs to learn in 4 days. Now, it's Ray Charles, so a third I already know.
Yeah.
Another third I'm familiar with, and then, you have to learn a third. Well, they brought me on as a second soprano. And so I met Mr. Charles. We got there that Monday. That Thursday, I met Mr. Charles. And he said, and I was singing, I can't stop loving you. And he was like, number 5. And he didn't call us by our names. He's like, because we're parts.
Yeah.
We're all parts. It's 6-part harmony. The tightest harmonies I've ever sung in my life. I mean, it was just one little smidge and you're on someone else's note. So he was very precise, and he was expected you to be very precise. And he would say something on stage if you were not precise, because he could hear it. He could hear everything. And so he was like, you've got a nice bottom. Why don't you try this? I can't stop loving you. So he put me in the tenor part. He was like, yeah, that'll be great. That'll be great. So the gig is Saturday. So now I got to go back and learn those 26 songs in the tenor part. But, it's that type of thing where he said rehearsal is for how do we get into it? How do we get out of it? Rehearsal is not for long.
Right.
Right? So you give people what they need to be prepared. And so that's what I do. I make sure that the cats have, the music, the charts, everything that they need. And so when we come to rehearsal, then we can have fun, because you can't really have fun on the bandstand if you, don't know the music.
No.
You
don't want to be sight reading.
That's when it gets fun, and that's when you really start to innovate and, improvise, because you know it.
And so you're free.
Exactly, and so you're free. That's one of the things that I learned. And also that every presentation, now you would think, this is Ray Charles, we're in this show, and we're going to do song list number 36. No. We didn't know what the show was until 20 minutes before the show, when we would get a handwritten list from him every night. Every night he made that organic connection with his music, with his audience, and penned in his own hand the story that he wanted to tell for that night. And that was really powerful for me. And he would sing, he'd sing encore, he would just leave everything on stage for the audience. And that it was all about them. And so that made a really powerful impression on me.
And was it important when they hired you that you were able to interpret things with a country feel rather than a swing feel, or a swing feel rather than a whatever type feel?
They didn't really take the time to do much of that. They were just like, if it was wrong, then you were gone. Okay. So they really, when they hired you, they expected that they hired a professional, and that you had the capacity to sing whatever Mr. Charles put in front of you. And that was the bottom line. And, some people stayed and some people went, and, I stayed.
That's the business.
That's the business.
All right. So you have a show that you're putting together, Legendary Ladies of Jazz?
Yes.
And I know one of those legendary ladies, Dinah Washington, was a particular favorite of yours, and a lady who sang blues and jazz and great gospel as well.
Absolutely. I tell you, I'm not overstating when I say she is the reason why I sing this music. She is my muse. And as a classical singer, my voice was so big, and that was one of the biggest things that I had to, yes, the right word is overcome, because it takes Henry Johnson to talk about me and my voice. He calls it Big Girl. And Henry, on the CD before this one, Henry was my vocal coach.
Okay.
And he taught me how to shape and mold my voice to release gently, in layers, with subtle nuances. Classical doesn't have that. It's your job to fill the room. That's your job. Fill the room. That's your job. And so with Dinah, early on, I heard this voice that was just as big as All Outdoors, but she can be pedal soft. And so that gave me a model. I could say, maybe I can do this. If she's got a really big voice like mine, but I've got to learn to do everything else that she does. And so, Henry Johnson was integral in me being able to do what I do now. And Dinah, yes, Dinah. I'm going to do a CD called Yes, Dinah, because I just love her, and she's the reason why I sing.
Now, did you ever have an opportunity to talk to any of the cats who worked with her here in Chicago?
No, I haven't. As a matter of fact, they just recently named a street after her on her birthday here in Chicago, which was really wonderful. And I know that there are several people that have done projects and works in her honor. But I'm really hoping to put together a project that is completely all Dinah Washington music, and it really talks about her story, her life, her agency. She really felt that not only am I here, but I need to be here. You need me here because what I have to say is important.
Well, and what you represented to many different communities was very important as well.
Absolutely.
Well, why don't we hear something from Dinah's songbook? What do you think?
I would love to.
All right. This is Tammy McCann, Jim Sellers. It's DCB Jazz 90.9 FM.
What a difference a day made. 24 little hours. Now there's sun and there's flowers. Where there used to be rain. My yesterdays were blue, dear, but now I'm a part of you, dear. My lonely nights, they're through, dear, since you said you were mine. Lord, what a difference one day made. There's a rainbow before me. Skies above can't be stormy. Since that moment of bliss, that thrilling kiss, you know it's heaven when you find romance on your menu. What a difference a day makes, and the difference is you. one day makes. There's a rainbow before me. Now the skies can't be stormy. No sense that moment of bliss, that thrilling kiss. You know it's heaven when you find romance on your menu. What a difference a day makes, and the difference is you. What a difference a day makes, and the difference is you. It's you. It's you, it's you, it's you.
What a difference a day makes. Tammy McCann, Jim Sellers, DCB Jazz. Wonderful, wonderful. Oh, yes, that was just great. And I'd like to remind folks that Tammy is going to have a concert occurring sooner than later, I hope. Legendary Ladies of Jazz. And is it just going to be you, or are you going to invite some of your legendary friends with you?
Well, you'll just have to see, won't you, huh? See? I really am looking forward to an opportunity where I can get all my girlfriends together, where I can get Dee and Maggie and everybody together to do a real Ladies of Jazz extravaganza. So I'm calling you girls, just FYI.
Well, this next song we're going to hear is part of your Love Stories recording as well, isn't it? Didn't you do Lullaby of Birdland on that?
I sure did. Yes, I did. That's interesting. It plays a dual role in the Legendary Ladies as well as on the CD. Lullaby of Birdland really encapsulates everything to me about Sarah Vaughan. There's just no other voice that is like hers, and the fact that she has this classical sound also really draws me to her and endears me to her. I really love the way that every song that she sings, she makes it her own. I mean, another thing about these ladies, which was so interesting, is that they all kind of came up and really flourished around the same time. And in many instances, in some cases, they opened for each other or worked together in different ways. So, I mean, it really heartens me that, all of these beautiful voices could come together and celebrate this beautiful music together. And yeah.
Well, and when Sarah came up, she's on Billy's band, and so you've got Billy Eckstein and Sarah Vaughan singing up front. It's like, okay, what more do you need?
Exactly.
Just having a good time with the music, and Blakey back there on the drums, and the whole thing happening. Yeah. So, Lullaby of Birdland. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Tammy McCann, Jim Sellers, DCB Jazz.
Lullaby of Birdland, that's what I always hear when you say, never in my wordland could there be words to reveal in a phrase how I feel. Have you ever seen two turtle doves, Bill and Coo, when they love? That's the kind of magic music we'll make with our lips when we kiss. Oh, there's a weepy old willow, he really knows how to cry. That's how I'll cry on my pillow if you should tell me farewell and goodbye. Lullaby of Birdland. Birdland. Whisper low, kiss me sweet, and then we'll go flying off to Birdland high in the sky up above, just because we're in love. Wop the bebop, whoa, love it, love it, love. There's a weepy old willow. He really knows how to cry. That's how I'll cry on my pillow. If you should tell me farewell, goodbye, lullaby of birdland. Whisper low, kiss me sweet, and then we'll go flying off to Birdland high in the sky up above, just because we're in love. Lullaby, lullaby, lullaby.
Tammy McCann, Jim Sellers, Lullaby of Birdland on DCB Jazz. I'm Barry Winograd. We're live from the PianoForte Foundation, 1335 South Michigan Avenue. And before we get one more from you, I think we need to mention, well, first of all, a man that I think took many of us under his wing as young musicians and really showed us a lot of different paths and ways of playing and handling ourselves, and a man I know you were close to, and that's Von Freeman.
Yes, Vonsky.
Yeah, and we lost him recently, and it was a shame, but Von loved good young vocalists who came into the club and always gave him a shot and a chance. And was there anything, one item or one way that he talked with you or dealt with you that sticks with you that says, you know, Von said, and this is right, and, you know, I'm going to keep that in my path?
Well, you know, I find that the universe often puts you right in the place that you need to be. Von Freeman is the one that gave me the gift of this music. And when I walked into Beige Man's on 71st, right off of Rhodes, I knew I was in the right place. And he took me under his wing. And I mean, when I tell you I was a classical girl, it was really, I mean, I was straight, like, my funny Valentine. And he was so patient and so kind. And he said, listen, you got a great voice, but you are not there. I need you to listen to some things. I need you to listen to some saxophone players. I need you to listen to some trumpet players. I need you to try to match their tone. I mean, he completely took me under his wing and taught me every step of the way. And taught me about the music, taught me about knowing my keys and being prepared on stage, taught me about that I had something to say. Mm-hmm. And that what I had to say was important, and that I should look at myself as another instrument on the bandstand, someone that was within, not without.
Absolutely. And
when one of the things that he instilled in me was the love of mentorship. And it's a rare thing now to have somebody really see promise in somebody and stick it through to the very, very end. And, you know, the last time I saw him was maybe not quite a year before he passed away. Mm-hmm. But he was up at the Green Mill, and he was like, Tammykins. And I was like, hi. Hi, Mr. Freeman. And then to come find out that by the time I was growing up in the church, he had left. But my family church was St. Paul Church of God in Christ. Bishop Ford, who the road is named for out south, and he was a member. He and his family were members of the church, and he had known me since I was a baby. He had known my family, he had known my parents. So that's when I say the universe, all these years later, I had no idea that this man had watched me grow up all my life. And now, I had been put in his hands to take this musical journey. So I was right where I needed to be.
Well, could we get one more course from you? I understand you're going to do Nearness of You, is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, let's get one more course here, and then we're going to move on. I'd like to remind everyone that at 7 p.m., Marion McPartland with guest Pete Jolly. 8 p.m., David Brent Johnson and Net Lights. At 9 p.m., a spotlight on Gene Ammons, Chicago's own. And then at 10 p.m., Radio Deluxe. But this is Tammy McCann and Jim Sellers and The Nearness of You. 90.9 FM, DCB Jazz.
Barry, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my honor.
Is another pale moon that excites me, that thrills and delights me. Oh no, it's just the nearness of you. It isn't your sweet conversation that brings their sensation. Oh no, it's just the nearness of you. When I'm in your arms and I feel you so close to me, all of my wildest dreams come true. I need no soft lights to enchant me if you only grant me the right to hold you ever so tight and to feel in the night the nearness of you.
Thanks for listening to our live broadcast with Tammy McCann and Jim Sellers from the PianoForte studios in Chicago. Tonight's Artist Interview Series broadcast was made possible in part by a grant from the Illinois Arts Council Agency. We'd like to thank Thomas Zoles and Victor Lejeune from the PianoForte Foundation. You can find out more information about everything happening at PianoForte online at pianofortefoundation.org. Thanks to Ken Scott, Bruce Oscar, Clarice Kavoris, and Dan Bindert at WDCB for production assistance. And thanks also, of course, to Tammy McCann and Jim Sellers for joining us this evening. You can find out more information about Tammy's work and her upcoming live performances at tammymccann.com. Stay tuned for Piano Jazz I'm Barry Winograd. Get out and support live jazz. See you tomorrow here at 90.9 FM.